It's already live.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make sure it.
Everybody will give people a few minutes to filter in here. It's public, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Go on to mine.
Yep. I guess then you can follow the chat too. Tyler first.
Perfect.
Eric Bowling.
Let's we'll give everybody a second to filter in here. I might share this on
Do your social media thing.
I can't share it from here for some reason.
You should.
What's up?
What's that? Sure. There you go.
It's always in a different place.
All right. Let's see if I can. Yes, the idle synergy is on the table.
That is not my idle synergy. That's Angel's idle synergy.
Soon to be Luke's idle synergy. Curtis says I need to get me some whiskey, good for the cold out.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of whiskey?
There we go. Yeah, I've got a little whiskey, but a little on the lighter side before bed.
Got the Axiom Pearl combo after throwing the Pearl in a demo this weekend.
Woof. That's right. It'll do in a pinch, I guess.
Oh,
Alright,
you're
so
following
this-
it. Okay, you're following. I don't need to keep reading then.
I'm kind of watching.
Okay, then I won't keep reading.
So, alright, we got a few people in here now. So, I got myself a little upgrade for the workbench. I kind of shuffled some stuff around here.
Now, before you hit the buttons, if anybody's going to watch, if you get dizzy or bright lights,
Yeah, if you
flickering
have a-
lights, follow
yeah, if
like
you have a-
epilepsy, I think
Photosensitivity, something like that.
we're going to have flashing lights here for a minute. So,
Yeah, so
just FYI. Warning.
I will go through some of the different colors that we have first to. So yeah, this is actually a Pro Shop display. It's kind of a light up LED. It's got a, flat panel plastic in front of it. It's got the LEDs that you can see at the top. It's got several different colors. And this is actually for like a Pro Shop display or something. These aren't available publicly. I'm sure if they had enough interest in people buying them, they'd sell you one if you wanted to buy it. Currently, these are only available for Pro Shops though, so if you have a Pro Shop and are interested in this, they also have some wall graphics that are kind of like the lightning and whatever that actually fit on the wall slats. They have them, they have the sections for the wall slats. So
I believe they have these at Nationals.
Yeah, I think we've seen them there, and there's a few shops. I don't know, some shops in your area might have some of these. I think they just started doing these a couple of years ago. So they have these, and they have some rotogrip ones as well, plus the wall graphics and whatever else. So these are.
Yes, it fits the workbench perfectly. You are right.
Yeah, and there was trying to figure out. We got two of them, so I was trying to figure. One was going to be for the set, and then one was going to go somewhere. I was going to put it up top there, but it didn't quite fit.
Yeah, there's actually room up top there, but it's not.
When I was mounting that, I found out that this was put on crooked, and so
and it's just enough that it's
going on here?
bugging
That's actually level, but I'm gonna turn on the flashing lights now. So warning for anybody. It's got several different through and flash all the colors, and it's got... That's a cool one.
Yeah, I can imagine if somebody was doing like a display booth or something, you have one of those up above it and had some of the lights going, it sure would catch somebody's eye and, oh, what's over there?
Yeah.
So these are definitely some great eye candy.
So, yep, that's my favorite color, so I'm going to leave it on that while we're doing the, and it's got a, I got a remote control for it, so I will take this moment to talk about my Panda Pack patches once again. I've got the heckin' urethane stuff, and the Panda Pack patches help support our local Positive Tales Kansas City Rescue that we've done a couple of fundraisers and giveaways and stuff for. You can get these at luke.bowlinglabs.com, and these are iron-on / I actually have my mom sew them on. So that they're easy to take off, so that they don't end up getting stuck. If you want to take it off of one jersey and stick it on the next, you just have to pull the stitching out. It doesn't really hurt the shirt as much as ironing it on.
Yeah. Or put them on a backpack or your bowling bag.
Grab one, put it on your backpack or something. Once again, Luke at bowlinglabs.com. This helps support local dog rescue. And then, of course, the heckin' urethane hoodies, zip up, and t-shirts that are pretty heckin' cool. I'm working on some new stuff, but I have some ideas, but letting the other stuff kind of percolate for a second. So, in addition to my awesome light here, Angel doesn't like her Synergy, and obviously I've been posting non-stop about it. She has a lot of competition because she has stuff like an original phase, but it's an R2S phase. Plus she has like a Code Extreme and a Trend and your Virtual X and your IQ Emerald, and she's
Teal.
got the
teal.
Yeah, the Teal 30 that we just drilled her. So she's got a bunch of stuff fighting for time in the bag already, and so this one was going to have to compete against a bunch of stuff, and she's always been kind of off and on about the idols. The Idol Pearl looked pretty good for her, but it was the same situation. When she could throw the Idol Pearl, she'd rather be throwing IQ Emerald, Phase, Optimus. That's the other one that she's got, all in kind of that big symmetrical.
Yeah.
Kind of area or idea. And so I started plugging it. I'm going to show you something that I do that a lot of people don't do, that I think helps kind of that kind of increases the durability of the plug. I also have a gem here, Supernatural. Thank you, Mr. Joe from Columbus.
/ Colorado.
Yeah, / Colorado. Now, I've been plugging a lot of stuff recently, some of my righty stuff that I don't want to let go of, or that if I can plug it and try a different layout on it rather than burning an entirely new ball. Or some of my overseas stuff, like my Halo Burn that I did, that, I'm not getting another one, and I can either plug it or let it sit somewhere until it cracks. And so I'm plugging several different things. And this is one that obviously I really love my Synergy. And so she's not going to do anything with hers. It's virtually brand new. We filmed the video, and she took it out like once, and it just wasn't going to happen. And so I decided that I'm going to take it. So this also keeps me sharp on my plug skills, and
plus it's purple. That does it. When I get a purple ball, it better be fantastic. Because
Yeah,
I'm
like
just,
purple.
I am immediately biased. I don't care for them. There has been some, but it's a turnoff. I
know you guys got the t-shirt. Is there going to be a jersey option? I'm sure I could go through that could be pretty easy to do. And I could actually get all the logos on it at the same time. I could get the Panda Pack logo on I could kind of, I just have to talk to somebody at Logo Infusion and get that made up, and then yeah, we can definitely make that happen.
It's supposed to be 18 tonight. I have to get like 3 rollers out of my cart, and I don't even want to go out there. Yeah, we didn't make double digits today.
Yeah, so that was fun. So
and it's supposed to be colder tomorrow.
Yeah. So this gives me an opportunity to save us energy and try a different layout on it, so that, you know, if I try something which I would drill on my next synergy or another synergy, if I try it, I don't really like it, well then I've only just burned a ball that wasn't going to get any use anyway. So yeah, it's worth the plug work to try something out. So
yes, the UC2 I've actually been throwing a lot. It's dark enough, it's almost black.
Yeah, the UC2, both of us have been throwing quite a bit more. I found myself pulling out of the bag at tournaments. When you need something to corner, and if the promotion wasn't rolling so well at Westridge, I'd probably be throwing it there, our Friday night house. But she's been throwing it there because the back ends have been really soft. Ball reaction's really lazy. Stuff just doesn't want to hook, and the UC2 will just plow through all of it. So what I've done here.
Is our daughter in Western PA?
Huh? What?
Where is she? She's in Middle PA. Okay.
Yeah.
John Schaefer's in Western, apparently.
Oh. Daughter is in Williamsport, where the Little League World Series is at. So they're pretty well smack dab right in the middle of Pennsylvania. All right. So if you'll notice, for the slug holes, what plug does when you pour it is, or once you mix it, it heats up because of the chemical reaction, and then as it cures, it shrinks. So the smaller amount of plug that you can do at a time, the better it's going to be for the ball. So what we do on the thumb slug, we plug it in 2 layers, and so you'll just see that I've got a layer already plugged here. And most people, what they will do, most shops do larger holes in 2 or 3 layers to begin with. But what most shops don't do is actually drill a little bit of that first layer out. You can see it's kind of glossy. You can see it's got a few air bubbles on top. Plug doesn't like, plug, glue, whatever else doesn't really adhere to shinier surfaces. Shinier, smoother surfaces are just harder for any kind of plug or glue or whatever else to adhere to. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put this back on the press. I'm going to drill a little bit of it back out because it does create kind of a break or a fault line, I guess, because you've got the shiny stuff, you've got a little bit of like I said, you've got a little bit of those air bubbles, and so what it does is kind of causes a break in that plug. So I'm going to drill the air bubbles out and kind of freshen up the surface so that the plug has something a little bit rougher to bond or adhere itself to. So that's the first thing that we're going to do.
Turn your lights off so you don't have a power outage again.
Yeah.
I've got a heater going over there right now just to help. It's about 55 degrees out here, but standing out here, your fingers get kind of still chilly.
Yeah, I was drilling a few balls earlier that shall remain nameless until next Friday. And yeah, I popped a break earlier because we had a bunch of stuff going on here, so I have to keep the pretty sign on though.
Yeah, it's not just when you turned off the other light, we didn't have another problem. So yeah. I just think it'll. All right.
So I'll take my 1¼ bit that fits pretty snugly right down in there,
and. Can you only plug a bowling ball so many times?
You can plug as many. I mean, you can plug a ball as many times as you want, but it does kind of reshape the core continually if you keep drilling holes into it. And anytime you plug a ball, there's always going to be a risk of it cracking because the plug material, they try to get it as close as possible. And not being a homer, but I've tried a bunch of different plugs, and the Storm Thunder plug is the best in my opinion. I used it, or actually once I discovered it, I started using it. Because I've tried all kinds of other stuff. Motive HD is pretty good too. The Thunder plug for me it cures a little bit faster. It doesn't set up quite so hard, so it cuts a lot better. It finishes a lot better. It acts a lot more like the ball when you go to drill back into it, so you don't have that extra hardness of the plug. And if you're drilling like half plug, half ball, the plug likes to divert the bit into the other, into the ball, and can kind of create ridges in there, because most of the time the plug ends up harder than the ball does. And so the Storm stuff seems a lot more, it acts a lot more like the ball. And I haven't had any, like I said, it cuts and finishes really well, and that's a big thing too. Sometimes especially if the plug is harder than the ball is, then you can have some issues, finishing it.
Yes, that's a supernatural in the background, just to confirm.
Yeah.
Yep, there it went.
Yeah, I keep popping though. Yeah, it's this frickin' heater that's causing problems here. I'm just gonna have to turn this thing off because I keep popping my breaker here.
Yeah, just while you're drilling, you can turn it back on afterwards.
All right. Fortunately, I have a breaker box. For those of you that might be electricians or more electronically inclined, our breaker box, when we bought the house, it's labeled and laminated in there. It was actually typed out, printed, and laminated and stuck on the door of the breaker box. And if you haven't ever done electrician work before, you won't know like how ridiculously cool that is.
Which Luke has.
Yeah, so
Fun fact.
I wouldn't recommend it. Again, basically what I'm doing is I'm just drilling the air bubbles out on top. I'm freshening up the surface down the hole so that the plug has something better to adhere to. I think that's a lot of the times if somebody uses turbo switch grips, for example, they send the sleeves out and they're just shiny, polished as can be, and glue doesn't really like to stick to those so well. And so what I'll do is I'll actually take a sander and I will buzz off the bottom corners too, because for some reason there's a lip on the bottom of them. And so I'll sand off, I'll kind of round off the bottom of the corners so that it doesn't scrape the glue off the side of the hole all the way down. And then I will take a little sanding disc and sand the outside of that to give the glue something to bond to. So, I don't know how well you can see that, but now we've gotten down.
Yep.
Now we've kind of gotten down in the hole, we've gotten rid of the air bubbles. It's all nice and prepped for the plug. We'll do the same thing.
Oh, you're gonna go ahead and do that now?
Yeah,
Okay, I was gonna move the camera.
Supernatural.
Okay. So, question: Axiom, idle, phase 2, IQ 2, or solid? Carry all those in one bag, or too much overlap?
What again?
Axiom, idle, phase 2, IQ 2, or solid?
That's a lot of overlap with those first three.
What would you kick out? So of those 4, would you carry any of the 3 together?
I would kick out the Axiom, but that's just a personal thing because I haven't gotten along well with any X so far. It's just a little too flippy for as much as it hooks. I get much more use out of the I get a whole lot more use out of the other two. I always take an IQ tour, but it really just depends on what out of those other three just doesn't really do it for you. The idle is going to be the smoothest. Phase 2 is going to be kind of in the middle, and the axiom is going to have the most friction response. But it really depends on whether you want a sharper look or a smoother look at a bigger hooking stuff, because they all hook about the same. I'd say that the Phase 2 is probably the weakest out of the three.
Well, he's trying to get an 8-ball.
Marginally.
He's got more. He said he's trying to get an 8-ball arsenal built for sport, and he has an idle and an IQ tour already.
Okay. But I mean, the pros on tour have all been gravitating towards the idle quite a bit, because it's a lot of ball motion for as much as the ball hooks. Some people have found the idle to be a little too smooth. Phase 2 is the same way. It can be a little too smooth. The idle can be a little too forward. So it really kind of, depends on your personal persuasion there. So. This one had some really weird pitch in it, but I don't mind about that so much because I'm not really going that deep.
Got some new people in here when you get done with that. It might explain why you don't plug the whole thing at once. Got a couple of those.
Oh, okay. Why we don't plug the whole thing at once is because when you mix plug, the chemical reaction makes it heat up, and then as it cures, it cools back down. Well, as things cool back down, they shrink, and so the smaller amount of plug that you can pour at a time, the less shrinkage you're going to have to fight. And so most of the time when you're drilling a larger hole, like plugging a slug hole or especially a turbo switch grip hole, you might even do 3 layers of plug on that one. But if you plug a smaller amount at a time, it's better for the overall plug integrity and to keep it from cracking as much as possible. Now what I'm doing now is I plugged the hole halfway up. But the top of the plug gets really shiny, and there gets some air bubbles in the top. When a hole is topped off, all of that gets cut out and shaved down. But it can create kind of a fault line between those 2 lifts or layers of plug if you don't drill it back out. So I take most people do plug the holes in 1 or 2 layers to kind of help fight cracking and ward off shrinkage and whatever else. But most of them, I don't think, go back in and actually cut out the air bubbles and freshen up the surface and get rid of that shine and that smoothness, because plug doesn't really like to adhere to that. And so I go back in and cut those bubbles out, get rid of that shine so that there's a rougher surface or something better for the plug to adhere to it, so it acts more like just one continuous layer of plug without actually being plugged just once. Alright, so we've got some freshness to work with. See down in the hole there? I drilled out the air bubbles and kind of freshened the surface up, so I think this is going to be a lot better for the plug once we get done.
John asked, when you drilled the fast pitch, was it hard like the pitch black urethane or soft like the pitch purple, not really urethane?
It feels a lot more like a pitch black. It comes out it's much more like drilling a slug too, and those are 100%. Or if you use turbo, they're 100% urethane.
Oh, I forgot to get you more cups. I'll have to run out and do that tomorrow.
Yeah, I think we're all right. But turn this back on.
Yep. Can I?
Yeah, but yeah, you can flip this on. Oh no, I need to reset that. When drilling that, it comes out in ribbons like urethane does, or the shavings drill out in ribbons.
And then whose supernatural is that?
That is mine. This came from Joe in Columbus when he was driving through. His mom lives around Denver or Colorado Springs, I think, and so he drives right through here. And so he's dropped off a couple things for me to detox and whatever else. And he's like, "Yeah, I have this ball. I'm not going to use it. If you can get any use out of it." I asked her if she wanted it. She didn't really want it, and I was still bowling right-handed at the time. And I'm like, "Well, I don't really."
That was going to go to Haley.
I don't really use urethane. I didn't really use urethane a whole lot on the right side. This had a little bit more pop than regular urethane. So
That was one I had at one point, wasn't it?
yeah, so that's why I asked you in the first place if you wanted.
Yeah.
Also,
I really like the fast pitch though. When I
Right.
use urethane, I really like the fast pitch.
life hack for pro shop guys: there's never ever a reason to order round plug dams, because most of the time when you order the oval ones, you just use the large size for the fingers and you don't use the smaller ones for anything. So instead of ordering round plug dams, what you should do is just order oval plug dams and then use the smaller ovals for the various different sizes of round holes.
Oh, Curtis, no, he did not try a pitch purple lefty.
Yes, I did.
What?
I plugged and re-drilled it.
I thought it was just the black you did.
No, I did both of them.
I don't remember this.
Yes, I had them both in the video.
I only remember the black.
Well, that's because I did the purple for the video and knew I was going to hate it, and I hated it because it left nothing but flat sevens, and
Oh. All right.
it was very short-lived.
Okay,
I
that's...
plugged and re-drilled it just for the video, and it's gone. So,
Oh.
all right,
Oh, no, I do remember that now.
because I was whining about it, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and since the well, heckin' urethane, is that where that came from?
Yeah. So, I have just successfully used oval plug dams instead of round plug dams. Ovals that I would not have used in the pro shop. So, once again, no reason to ever order round plug dams.
What storm or roto grip balls do you like on shorter oil patterns?
The fast pitch I've been throwing a lot. I drilled a 2-inch pin MVP Attitude, which has worked out pretty good. If it's heavier volume, the Omega Crux looks pretty good. The ProMotion's always going to be in play when you need control. The Insight is looking at, it's very similar to the Omega, so if you don't have an Omega, that would be one to look at too. I just have them virtually right on top of each other. Once again, there's nothing wrong with the Insight, it just overlaps with a bunch of different others that we have. So if you don't have something like a Rubicon or Omega or something like that, then
Yeah. What is your lefty pap and your righty pap?
They're virtually identical. Righty is 5.5 over and 3/4 up, and lefty is 5 3/8 over and 3/4 up. That's looking suspiciously like more than one pump, but we're gonna find out. I don't want to do 2 pumps because it's
You'll be okay.
easier than fixing it on the back end. So.
Yeah,
Right.
throwing away extra versus having to.
All right. What the hell is this? All right. Always add compound first. Take it slow. Move that.
Yeah, I've got the on the tablet. It's actually easier to follow.
Now, a lot of shops will not use pumps. Most of the time, the pumps are actually more problems than they're worth. They do pump it out. They do come recalibrated to pump out the right amount. But it also tells you on the bottle here that it's a 2-to-1 ratio. So I just find that it's easy. Some shops get the cups with the lines on them, but I've found it's just so if you don't mess around with the pumps, you've got to mess around with the cups. So it's just easier for me to do with the cups, or the pumps, but the hardener one normally gets stuck. The hardener one, yeah. Hardener one's normally a pain.
Curtis L says, I want a supernatural sad face. No more bowling balls for me for at least through summer league season. Probably anyway.
Yeah. Alright. So I didn't need quite this much plug, but it was kind of borderline, so I went ahead and did it anyway. Color matching is somewhat of a science because it's very difficult to see it's like my pink badger. Once you see the yellow in it, you can't unsee it. And so this isn't going to be as simple as just, doing silver and red. It might be if I get the balance right. So we're going to first add a bunch of silver to this. All I see is silver. I don't see any gold in there, but we might have gold. So I will find out after I get this initial mixture.
Do you know what Jack means here? He says, has anyone submitted a gear save video?
Gear save video. I don't have any idea what that. What's the gear save thing about, Jack? Probably something else we're doing that I don't know about.
John says, heard a lot of positive comments from people doing short pins on Hustle PBRs.
Yeah, that would be very, very successful there too. All right, so just adding a crap load of silver powder here first. I'm going to add a very small amount of red first. This red's kind of bright, so I might have to add just a little bit of black. But that can be tough to balance.
What if you used your purple since it's gray?
Huh? Well, it's purplish gray.
No, okay.
I can always add white to.
I just thinking if black was too dark, maybe that would.
No, I can always add white to lighten it back up, but then that kind of washes it out. So yeah, I am going to have to use a little bit of black here because this is a little too vibrant.
The Hydromax actually looks really awesome. I'm glad that it's not all one shade of green. I like that it's two-toned green.
What's a Hydromax? High Road Max? Oh.
Yeah, sorry. I probably said it too quick.
Alright. So this is definitely too bright. I think one drop of black will fix it. I can always add more red to buff it back up without adding, because white will make it opaque. I don't want to do that because this is still kind of a clear-ish type color. There's all kinds of different. The other thing I like about the Thunder plug is very few bubbles. It's a little. The bubbles tend to work themselves out. If the mixture ends up too thick, it'll trap the bubbles, and if it ends up too thin, you can get excess bubbles. And so this is a nice balance to where it's thin enough to mix, but you should see I don't know, it's hard to see, but without me turning this upside down and sideways and whatever else.
I'll zoom in when you go to pour
the
it.
The bubbles actually kind of work themselves out.
Oh.
And we'll flip to the top.
Hold on. It takes a second for it to actually show up there.
No. Hacker. DJ Harry's Dance Party, $10. Thank you. Thank you. Definitely appreciated. If you have any question or anything, fire away. And if you're just helping out, definitely appreciate it. Oh, Gear says you submit a video to a pro athlete and they respond on how to critique your game. I did one with Norm. Interesting.
Yeah. Never even heard of it.
Yeah.
All right.
There's some other stuff like Cameo that you can sign up for. I know that Daria and Belmo do a lot of those where you can pay them $40, $50 or something to personalize a message to somebody.
Oh, yeah. Those are pretty cool. As far as the Daniel, if it probably smells great, if that's the max, yes, it actually does smell great.
Yeah. All right. So I got this fairly well mixed up. You want to try to mix. You don't want to like really go fast. I'm probably going faster than I should, but if people do the typical figure 8 motion, and then I don't think it gets it mixed up well enough. So I scrape the sides quite a bit to kind of get that mixed back up into the middle, and then I kind of slowly swirl the middle here without agitating it too much. So now so this is what we're looking like on the color. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's definitely...
Yeah, the shades in it, yeah.
Once I get it back down into the light, it's a whole lot lighter than the ball is. So I think a little bit of black goes a long way. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add 1 drop. This is going to darken it significantly, but I think it'll actually handle the drop.
You probably, as I say, you probably got enough there.
I've got enough here that with 1 pump, this is the other thing about having 1 pump versus 2 pumps, you can play with the color a lot easier with more plug material.
I guess they're advertising on Facebook a lot now for the Gear Say. Not on Facebook very much. I limit my social media as much as possible. Spend most of my extra time in Discord.
Okay, so let's darken this quite a bit. Getting vibrant colors is actually fairly tough to do. I need better color kits because a lot of these are like flat. A lot of the storm colors are like flat red, flat yellow. Other colors that you can get they start off darker, and so I find out it's a lot harder to kind of get the color palette right with the storm colors than with something else. Just because a lot of balls now aren't flat colors. Now this magenta should be pretty easy to do because it's not very sparkly, and again it's more of a flat color. But the more silvery, kind of sparkly colors like this. And so I think now that I'm looking at this, I think we could use a little bit of gold powder. Silver powder made this a little purple somehow. But I'm going to add some gold powder and see what happens here. That should change the color palette just a little bit. I might add a little bit of red back to this because I think it's the right...
Curtis is asking about what's the supernatural roll like. I don't remember it very well.
it's hard to describe because it's kind of, it's urethane, but it's not urethane. Yeah, I think I need to add a little bit more red back to this, but that's just going to brighten it up. And the black is kind of changing the tone here. I don't think I'm going to end up with something.
Colored plug, it either darkens or lightens.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to end up with something I'm going to be terribly happy with here, but as long as it's close, as long as somebody makes a good effort and at least gets it close and it's not like obvious or kind of an eyesore.
Yeah, when the ball's rolling down the lane and you can see a grip or you can see a slug, it's not near as bad, but when you see extra plug work, it's weird.
So yeah, I wish I had like a darker red or not something that's this kind of bright.
Like a burgundy or something.
Yeah, this bright, flat color, because trying to get a flat color to match a kind of darker silvery ball just doesn't really work.
Totally changing subject. Chris has got a question. What is the purpose of people using an offset thumb? Is it to get the ball to rest more in the hand like it would if you didn't use your thumb?
Yeah, and there's really, it depends on your orientation. I'll show, as soon as I pour this, I'll kind of give you a little demo here. Because there's really no such thing as an offset thumb. They call it an offset thumb because they want to sound smarter, but it's the same difference as raising the ring finger versus offsetting the thumb. You're just doing it from a different orientation. Alright, so this will take one more drop of black. That might wash the color out a little bit more than I want it, but I think I'm at least going to get it close enough to where it's not, again, an eyesore, so.
Oh, no, DJ Dance Party was just doing it to say thanks for all that we do. It's helped a bunch.
Cool, appreciate it. So yeah, I'm not going to get this vibrant kind of cherry looking, and so that's going to frustrate me with the fingers too, because I'm not going to be able to get that done either, because if I put just a little bit of red in there, most of the time the reds are a lot darker, and so you have to use white to lighten it back up if you want it brighter. But if I had a darker red to work with, then the red would fit right in there just fine. Just one drop of red and a little silver and I'd be off to the races. So I'm probably going to pour this. It's not as vibrant as I'd like, and I don't know how well you can see that. She'll hold it over the top once we're done here. And I probably put just a little bit too much silver in there, but
Move in closer here.
probably going to end up a little bright, I guess. Another drop of black in there. So I don't want it too bright. If plug, especially on a darker ball like this, if the plug's a little dark, that's usually better. If it's too bright, that stands out. It's almost nap time. I think the problem was here too that I put too much silver in it. I started with way too much silver, and that's giving it kind of a very shiny, pearlescent, almost purplish tinted look to it. So I'm going to call this plug work kind of a bust on the color matching, but I don't think I was really set up for success here.
Clint says he ate 2 pints of ice cream today.
Oh, yeah. Sweet. That sounds fun. That sounds like a nap waiting to happen. So yeah, I think I used silver. I should have used gold. But I wasn't going to get that tone of red. So I'm going to call this a bust and fairly unsuccessful here. Can't think of another way to get. Sometimes you can mix and match the rest of these colors to kind of get what you're after. And if I add any of the rest of these, like if I add orange or anything else, it's just going to brighten it up because they're all these flat pastel looking colors.
Go for green. Go for purple.
I'm not going to totally screw it up.
Well, then just pour it.
I'll get it a little bit more red anyway, but I'm just going to brighten it back up, and then I'm going to have to darken it. My darken is going to wash out the color.
The pro shop I had plug a weight hole in a used ball, just use black on a red ball.
Yeah.
That would be terrible.
Yeah, that's kind of lazy. I just need a better color kit is what I think. Or I need different color kits so that I
We
can
need to
kinda,
expand it because using these are great to add to some, but just having these is
just
hard.
having these colors, I've run into several, especially now. I don't have pink. I either have light red or dark red. There's no pink that comes out of anything. Now I think this magenta I'm going to be able to get pretty close to, because that's just going to be red and blue, and or maybe a little bit of that gray purple that I have. So yeah, this I'm not really happy with the plug, but I'm going to pour it because I can keep messing with it back and forth. It's either going to be blacker or redder, and I'm not going to get the tone that I was going for. And like I said, I should have used the gold powder instead of the silver powder in the first place. I think that would have helped out quite a bit. But
Jack, as far as the swirls, he's done it once or twice, but he basically mixes 2 cups.
This isn't going to look as bad as...
And so he would plug as much up to the top, and then he would drizzle into... And then kind of use like a stick or something and swirl it.
You always want to overfill these because they do shrink. You know, the plug does shrink. If you think that you've got plenty in there, chances are you probably don't, because it always shrinks just a little bit more than you think it's going to. This is definitely plenty. Most of the time, especially if you have the plug, if you run out while you're pouring, then that's one thing. But if you have the plug in the cup and don't fill it up far enough, you're an idiot. So, all right. So, that, if you want to pop the camera over here and show them, that's kind of...
I'm going to let you, however you want.
That's kind of what that looks like. It's close. It's nothing special. I'm not terribly happy with it, but I don't really think that I have the best tools to work with. But once I get that cut off and finished, it's going to be really hard to see. And that's what... clear would be... preferable to black on red, yeah. So, yeah, again, I'm not happy with it, but like I said, once I get done looking at kind of there's some really bright spots of the ball, but then there's some darker spots of the ball over here too. So once I get it cut off and done, it's not going to look terrible. You're not terribly, well, yeah, you're about 45 minutes late. All right, so I'm going to do this energy. Actually, I have a ball rack over here that I'm going to go put this off to the side on, since I kind of get some of these air bubbles out of here. Like I said, I don't really have trouble with bubbles on this stuff too much anyway, so I'm going to take that over to my handy dandy ball rack here. Sitting on my table. This, and I'm not sure, it doesn't look like there's any silver or anything. That's just like a flat magenta. So I think this should be a whole lot more successful. I definitely know that I can match the teal color, but I'm probably going to do the teal color up in the fingers, and I will do the magenta, since this is kind of more in a, it's hard to see what these... more in a kind of a magenta zone there. So I'm just going to go on ahead and put...
How long does plug take to fully harden?
This stuff it says it takes about 10 hours, but especially with as cold as it is right now, I'm probably going to give it 36, or I'll probably give it a couple days.
Yeah, so he probably won't come back out and touch them until Monday or Tuesday.
Cold and
I was there,
thick.
so.
How do you usually fight house shots with heavy volume and flying back ends with reactive? Promotion.
Promotion is your answer to everything.
Yeah. Promotion, Insight, Omega Crux, stuff like that. Generally smoother balls with some surface on them. Maybe not a whole bunch. but surface definitely helps blend things out. Why not just drill a fever pitch? Well, that one was awful, number one. But
What's the supernatural?
Yeah.
It's urethane-ish.
Yeah, it's a urethane resin mix. It was actually flippier than a fever pitch, and more consistently flippier than a fever pitch. The fever pitch either jumped or it did nothing. So.
Oh, Kratos, we don't have customers. This is our shop, so that isn't even an option. That was here. Yeah, not for customer.
Yeah. I don't have customers. This is my own personal private shop just for me and Angel. So it keeps us out of the pro shop when he's busy, and
yeah, there's only one shop in
all the way
town.
across town, and plus I can kind of do live streams like this that I wouldn't otherwise be able to do. So there's several different ways that this kind of worked out. So, and for all the people that just got here, this was my new upgrade to the set. I got a couple of these signs.
Flashing lights coming.
Well,
a little bit.
Several different colors. These are used for pro shop displays. They don't currently sell them to the public. Like I said earlier, though, if people want to buy them, I'm sure that they'll sell one to you.
Or if you're in good with your pro shop guy, maybe you can figure out something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So that's a cool little addition. And plus, I was able to kind of restructure things a little bit here. I have a lot more room on my workbench, and it looks a whole lot cooler for.
Whatever makes him clean his stuff, I'm happy. Clean and organized, please.
All right. This should not be terribly difficult. Key operative word being should not.
Oh, you've already practiced one, so it should be good fun.
Yeah. So we're going to grab several different colors here because I'm not entirely sure exactly what this is going to take.
Oh, pitch blue was a dog too.
Yeah, that was one of, when Kevin Williams was with us, that was one of his favorite one. He had 6 of them.
Really?
He carried around 6 pitch blues.
Good grief.
So, all right. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen with these colors, but what I'm saying with these colors, they're all bright, flat, pastel-looking colors, and when you're trying to do, kind of darker, deeper, pearl-looking stuff, it doesn't really look good because you end up with a black. You have to add black to darken it, but then you end up with a blackish blue or a blackish orange or a blackish yellow. You don't end up with that color.
Luke does not have access to the Belmo spare balls as far as through HQ. Those were overseas releases, right?
Yeah. The most recent ones were overseas,
yeah. So if we wanted one, it was buy it from the overseas market. If it's not worldwide, then we can't order it like all the other stuff.
Yeah, we have to get it through the regular where everybody else gets it from the overseas stuff. So, let's see. That's definitely going to need 1 drop of red.
Steve, that's somewhat a new work surface. I think he had it on the last drilling stream, but we got a new office desk, and this is leftover pieces from that desk, but it keeps him the workbench surface.
I'm going to use this grayish purple that they sent me first to see what happens. That might actually be spot on. We'll see.
How did you like the fused?
I never really got along that well with the hypercell fused.
I think it's that core. You haven't really gotten. I mean, they weren't terrible for you, but it's not it didn't kick anything else out of the bag.
Yeah. All right, this is definitely going to need blue. This is kind of a muddy mess at the moment. Go ahead and add that now because it definitely needs it.
Are you going to make a video on how to properly sand a ball?
I did make one on Surface a couple weeks ago. There's not really a proper way to sand a ball. You just want to make sure it's as even as possible. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere.
Oh, nice. Daniel says, our center doesn't have a shop. We have a friend who drills out of his garage, so I've been learning how to drill balls over at his house. Been fun learning.
Yeah. Alright, well there's something to work with. I think I need a little bit of yellow in this.
The overseas balls market is, I believe it was in Luke's video with Chad on the 30 clean that they talked about it. And the overseas basically dictate as far as I want this core with this cover, these colors. They name it, they pick the scents, everything, and in doing that, this is our ball. It's not approved to be released worldwide.
A little bit red. Oops. One drop, got two. We'll see what happens there. Color tone is getting into the right direction. White to brighten it up.
Saren says, I'd like to learn. I have only found one pro shop that has properly laid a ball out for me, and it's an hour away, partially why I don't buy many balls.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part, is sometimes you don't really know who to trust. It can be pretty expensive figuring out who actually knows their stuff and who doesn't. I think that needs orange.
Snag says, I don't know about the positive access point numbers, but is it for each ball drilled?
No, your positive access point is the way that you throw the ball. That's how they know, that's what they base layouts on, is the way that you throw the ball. And so each ball will not have its own positive access point. You have your own positive access point that they use to lay out the ball based on how you throw it.
Is that when they use the armadillo thing typically?
Yeah. Going back to the one about the properly sanding bowling balls, there's no proper way to do it, really. You just want to make sure it's as even as possible. Where are we frozen?
Oh. This should have been charging. Okay, let me go get my other charger. Or I can get it. I'll actually just get a box. Plug it into the wall.
Alright, we're back now, I think. I don't know why it froze. Hello? Yeah. Alright, so I've ended up with purple right now. I've mixed a pretty good purple, but I need magenta. I'm going to add a drop of orange and see what happens. So I think that might help. We'll see what happens. I need to go back red here. Yeah, I think I need to go back red. That didn't really do anything. Actually, I did kind of do something.
Alright.
So yeah, the problem with adding all these colors together is that eventually, if you keep adding colors, you kind of just end up with this brown kind of conglomerate. Brown or purple is what you end up with most of the time when you're trying to adjust colors and just can't get it right.
How do you feel about the OG idle compared to the Synergy? Because I got a Synergy, but I feel as though I might have made a mistake in not getting the OG.
The Synergy, the idle's all shaped the same, but the idle is a lot stronger than the Synergy. I mean, they're not really that close in terms of overall ball motion and hook. It's kind of trending in the right direction. At some point, I'm going to hit a tipping point and get too much red in there. But it's definitely better than that purple nonsense I had a minute ago. Yeah, it's actually going in the right direction.
Yeah, there isn't a lot of PSOs that take the time to plug match.
Yeah, because
It's just-
obviously you can see I've been sitting here fiddling with this for probably 10 minutes now.
Yeah, it depends on how busy the shop is.
Well, most of the time I do plug work at the end of this. Is actually not bad. I do plug work at the end of the day so that after you close the shop, because if you have somebody walk in and you're in the middle of mixing plug and you have to you either got to tell them, it's like, look, you got to hang out a second because I can't just put this down and walk away from it. Heck yeah. Tone isn't quite right, but I can fix that with a little bit of blue as soon as I get it as light as I want it. So we had a purplish mess. Now I've got kind of a maroon. So it's actually gotten quite a bit better here. I had a couple missteps and some stuff that didn't really work out, but I've gotten generally in the right area. I just need to brighten it up a little bit more, and then I think it needs one drop of blue, and we're probably going to be as close as we can get to this. Because again, this is kind of magenta, and I don't have magenta. So I'm getting a different color kit to kind of add to this. Now the blue I know that I can nail that because I at one of our shops I plugged an EJ VIP, the Motive EJ VIP for a friend in the shop, not my shop, the other shop, the other day, or one of our regular in the Zone Pro shops in the Kansas City. Oh yeah, wow. I'm really close. So yeah, I'm quite happy with this so far. This isn't quite the right tone. I think I need one drop of blue to kind of shift the color tone just a hair bit. But I'm really close.
JA, as far as drilling bowling balls for other people, if he's working in the shop, then he can drill balls for other people. We do not drill other people's stuff here.
Yeah, I still kind of technically work for the pro shop.
He doesn't have a regular schedule, but if one of the other guys, typically it's the Topeka that he covers for, but he has gone to another shop before in Lawrence.
Yeah, I've covered Lawrence once or twice.
But if they're gone, vacation, sick, wedding, whatever they've got going on, he will go cover their shift. And if he's covering a shift, then he will drill someone's balls. But that's because otherwise they're paying two people to be on payroll, and that doesn't go over well.
All right, I'm really, really close here.
As far as a tour of the bowling balls, not right now at least. Maybe we can do that at some point, but not this stream.
Yeah.
How would we rate the insight?
Well, again, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just there's a bunch of overlap with other stuff that we already have.
Yeah,
That's kind of where the problem.
Yeah, depending on the balls that you currently have in your bag and what you like to see, there's a slight variance to it. There's some people that have said that the Axiom and the P2, there's overlap to it.
I don't think there's a whole lot of overlap there, but
some have. That's what, depending on them and their center and how they lay out balls and whatever else. So the insight may not overlap for some other people.
I probably added way too much color to this, but I'm not terribly concerned about it.
John says they'd have to do an aerial shot from a helicopter to show you all this stuff.
Yeah.
That's Brent Coleman. Apparently, my
Oh.
PAP is 5 over 1 down. Does PAP affect certain layouts that you can use? I've bowled for a while, but haven't really got into the technical aspect of it.
It does more, not really on symmetric stuff, but it does kind of muck some things up from an asymmetrical point of view. Man, this is really close. Yeah, this. I think I need to go back a little bit red and then add a little bit of white. Because I'm starting to lose the red here. But now that they opened up the USB-C spec on that to 3 ounces of side weight any direction, that's helped out quite a bit, so you don't have to worry with it quite so much, but it can affect some layouts that you would use on an asymmetric ball. I've got just a little bit too blue, so one more drop of red should balance that back out, and then white, and I think I'm just gonna pour it because I messed with it for too long here, and I just don't think that I'm gonna get it perfect. It's very, very close.
And when he
So
gets
I'm-
it that close, he keeps thinking, one more drop of this and I
yeah,
can
one
get
more
it, nail
drop
it.
of this, and that, yeah, it doesn't really ever work out like that. But this is close enough that you're not going to notice it.
Curtis says that tournaments and leagues are shutting down this week in Texas. People don't know how to drive or plow snow out
No,
there.
yeah.
Yeah. Some friends of ours in the Kansas City area headed towards Texas. And at least they caught, I guess, the back half of it, so they knew about all of the closures and issues before they got there, so they could veer off. But they were prepared, they knew what they were doing, but yeah, it was crazy.
A little bit of orange. I think after I already said that I was done making adjustments.
How do you keep up bowling skill and practice at home? Because where I am, there are no bowling alleys open. The best one for that one has been Verity.
Yeah, Verity Crawley.
She was in Florida for a while, but Florida was shut down for a while. So she was doing things. She was on Instagram and had pillows and blankets and had her ball and her shoes and everything and doing one-step drills and whatever else. And she's now back home and doing the same thing. She's posting videos of blankets and pillows and practicing at home.
Alright, so I keep adjusting this and keep kind of arriving at the same color.
So
So
quit.
I'm just going to pour it.
Yes.
Plus I've got too many bubbles in here too, but this is not bad. It's not really what I'm after, but it's...
No, Schlemmer does not design overseas balls, or at least as far as we know. I can't say 100% certain, but this,
I guess I'll pour it. I don't really want to pour it. Oh god. Yeah. Well, this sucks, but I can always once I get new colors. Probably what's going to happen on this one, I'll just drill this out and fix the color.
when it hardens, it might be okay.
But that's the problem with all these flat colors is I can't really adjust it. I can't get any vibrance out of anything. It's always just kind of this brown, purplish looking goulash.
If you could design your own ball, what cover, stock, and core would you use?
Oh boy. The IQ Ruby.
Yeah.
R3S Hybrid, which is the Phase 3 cover on the IQ core.
Steve says, don't worry, guys. There's plenty of people in New York that think they can drive on the snow and they're just overconfident, I imagine.
Alright, well, I'm not happy with this, but
Yeah.
It is what it is. So.
Oh, the cord's so careful when you go to.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
not going to go too far.
Yep, I just let you know.
So you can see that that's definitely not the right shade of purple, but I don't think that I really had a shot with those colors. Because everything just kind of mixed into and again, I don't have magenta. If I had magenta to match the ball to start off with, that would be helpful, but I have that. So new plug colors are coming soon, and I'll probably drill this out and fix it later. But again, it's one of those to where it's going to look like an eyesore if you're looking right at it. But imagine this ball rolling down the lane looking like that. You're never going to see it.
No.
You're just never going to see it. And so if you can't get it right dead on, at least put the effort in to try to make it blend in. Because again, I don't have pink, and my Halo Burn came out so bad the several times that I tried that. I don't know if that, yeah, that's actually up here. My pink attempts came out so bad that I just went silver on it. Now the silver in the fingers, that came out pretty good. So I'm quite happy with the way that the silver came out in the fingers, because that blends right in. You can barely see it. The pink did not come out pink. So I just went with the silver kind of grayish, whatever, and you can see it when you're looking at it, but when the ball's, rolling down the lane, you're never going to see that.
Yeah.
So
It's basically the same shade as the other color in the ball, so it blends.
then with something like my ProMotion, I did this, and the first time it came out a little bright. It looked like it was matched until I cut it and finished it, and it ended up too bright. But then when I finished the thumb, I got a heck of a lot closer. It's just a hair dark, but you've got to be looking right at that to see it. So that's when these flat colors actually work out really well, because it's just blue and a little bit of white. Mm-hmm. So
We were way behind on. What color combos would you want in a ball?
I really like this teal. So this kind of teal, this silvery blue, that's one of my favorite ones. Actually, one of my favorite looking balls was with that the Brunswick Mastermind, whatever, that was blue and yellow and silver or something like that. It was that Pearl Mastermind that I'll have to find that I really like the colors on.
Yeah.
The Phase 3 is ridiculous. But I would have something like this and something like a silvery yellow and actually that frickin', I'm going to get that and show that off again. Pink. Anything pink. It wasn't the Mastermind Genius.
I would do something teal and silver-ish white.
Mastermind Strategy? Nope.
And maybe something to offset it, so like some blue or some.
Yeah, I think it was the Mastermind Scholar, I guess, but it doesn't look as good as I remember it looking.
I really like green, but I actually like teal on the balls better.
Mm-hmm. Let me go get that pink IQ.
Alright. Should I get an Insight or an Omega Crux? Which one is more continuous? They're really similar. More continuous. I would probably say the Insight. Question. Should I get an Insight or an Omega Crux? Which is more continuous? My vote would be Insight.
They're both pretty continuous. The Crux is a little bit rollier. There's a little bit more definition of shape with the Insight, but they're both really continuous. So I don't think that you're going to really miss out on either one of those. So Alright. I don't know what the lighting looks like here, how well that... This thing. I don't know how well you can see this. The labels are perfect. Yeah, I don't know. This is gonna make it worse.
You can see the fluorescent better when you do that, though.
Yeah, let me go put this on that mess up there.
Oh, okay. Yep, sorry.
This thing, however...
Oh, that's a big gap. It says, what do you suggest as a mid-range pearl or hybrid that would fit between the Nuke Cell and the Electrify Pearl?
Oh, yeah, virtually everything in our catalog would fit between those.
Yeah. That is a massively range. You can fit like 10 balls in between there.
What was what specifically are they?
That's just...
a mid-range pearl or hybrid that will fit between those two. But yeah, this thing is crazy sharp, and it doesn't even do it justice here. I might have to try to... The lighting sucks here.
Yes.
Or trying to get to actually see something.
It's coming across just fine.
Okay. Maybe it just looks terrible on the...
Yeah, I'm...
But yeah, you can see all the... You can see the purples, the kind of the purple silver color in there. They've got purple mica in the pink, and so this thing, and with the labels, they kind of match the mica and the mica or the silver in there, and it's just the coolest looking ball I've ever seen. And it smells like cherry. It smells great. So now let me get you out my other one that. One of my personal favorites that everybody dogs on.
We have seen a PBA event and a PWBA event. We have had both in our area. And Luke actually went to bowl in a PTQ in Wichita 2.5 years ago now.
Yeah. For my money, this is still the coolest ball I've ever seen. I mean, just the best looking. I mean, just look at the blue. Now the orange has phased, so this doesn't look near as good. The orange doesn't look near as good as it did new. But I'm gonna show you a little party trick here. Hold that.
I'm reading questions.
The way to fix phasing is quite simple. So if you have a ball that's been out in the cold, ProMotions do this quite a lot. This ball, they called it the phase because when a color kind of whites out, that's called phasing. And so that's how it got its name in the first place. So if you got some nail polish remover, but it's basically rubbing alcohol / acetone / whatever else, and you rub it on the phased area, you can see it instantly start to restore the color.
Don't you have to do that a little bit more often, though? Like, to get it fully out? Or is it instant?
No, for this won't ever come out. So it's just going to be white. It's just going to be a white-orange, because I've already done this before.
Oh, this is the one you did it on.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can see a pretty solid line there of... in other balls, it will come out. So you can definitely see the difference there. I mean, most other balls, if you take it to get it detoxed, or if it sits out in the cold too long or something, but for the orange, it doesn't really work out, but for this blue and this yellow, that's still just the coolest ball I've ever seen, so. It's just ridiculous how cool this ball is. And this is the original phase. And this is the original pour of the phase, because they had some other ones that they changed something and they were a lot less phased. And then there was an overseas variant with the same colors, but it was R2S Pearl instead of this AX16 Pearl or whatever it was. But I think it works on the blue too, but I don't really want it to work on the blue. It looks a whole lot cooler. So
Says Luke, is there a reason why you keep your hand more on the side of the ball during your swing rather than behind the ball?
are you talking about me specifically? Because I actually stay behind the ball now. Yeah, I actually on the left side of the lane, I actually keep it behind the ball now. The whole righty thing was a lack of ability, a lack of physical ability to actually keep it behind the ball. So I think you're probably referring to some of the righty videos that you've seen where I kind of twist it in my backswing. I have a kind of a beat up shoulder, and I just don't have the physical strength or ability to be able to stay behind the ball properly. So it's not intentional. That's actually why I'm a lefty now. So.
Curtis asked how you're going to drill that other promotion, the one you plugged.
I haven't decided yet. I think I'm going to put a 4-inch pin on it, but I might actually short pin it too. A short pin ProMotion is a terrible idea on the right side of the lane, but it could be a really great idea on the left side of the lane because there's extra shape. And so I'm probably going to 2-inch pin it and use it for, because if it sucks, I've already used the crap out of that ball right-handed. So if it sucks, I'm not out anything.
What are some tips that you would give to a new bowler?
Make your spares, spend more money on coaching than bowling balls. Because I mean, you can go buy nice new fancy golf clubs, but if you shank the ball, you're not going to really help yourself out. And people seem to think that because of the differences in bowling balls, they think, well, they don't realize that they're not actually that good. They think, well, if I buy a different, maybe I don't have enough bowling balls, or I don't have the right surface, or I don't have the right layout, because whenever you talk about bowling stuff, everybody's always talking about bowling balls and layouts and surfaces, and you need this and you need that, and so people tend to get lost in that and then not realize that they're not really as good as they think they are. Because the pros can just take a rock out of the parking lot and strike with it.
Yep. Brent, we are not bowling the 9-pin no tap at Royal Crest tomorrow, but we are going to go out there and practice some. So if you're there, come down and say hi.
Is the IQ red worth the price if I find one? I don't know, because it's urethane, so I wouldn't go out of my way to pay for a urethane IQ, but it might actually be a pretty good deal too. But that's one of those that it may be awesome and it may be awful, and I just don't know. So
yeah, I am actually looking for an IQ Sapphire. I want one. Haven't found one yet. Pro, seen one of those in person. IQ red. Okay, that's all of them now. Team Ames. Teammate absolutely hated his Omega Crux. Decided to give it a try and shot 720 with it. Still hates it.
Yeah, Daniel actually had another good point there. Is that when you go out and practice, you don't practice for score. You know, just most of the time they have things where you can just turn on a lane to practice without the telescorer up. Some people focus too much on score, and score can actually kind of, you can get lucky, and you can, especially on a house shot, you can end up striking a bunch on shots that aren't really that great, and then kind of artificially, say you put, a couple lucky strikes, you tug one, you dump one, you whatever else, but they end up being strikes, and you shoot 220 or 230. A lot of people will feel good about that and think that they're actually getting somewhere, instead of, if they have a coach behind them saying, well, that really wasn't that good, or, you're getting away with stuff on a house shot that you're not going to get away with consistently, or some other places that you go. So
yeah, if you had a 3-ball arsenal with RST X1 and a nuclear cell, what would be your third ball?
Nuke and an RST, probably something under that. Probably
Yeah.
an IQ Tornado Pearl.
I was to say something with the IQ or something with phase. Possibly even something like the
Axiom Pearl.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Axiom Pearl, UC2.
Nope.
No, I think Mr. Wong doesn't have any IQ Sapphires. He probably does.
Yeah, nobody has offered one to me to purchase. So
Yeah, we most of the time we go through Nick Brown, that does the SRG BBFS on Facebook.
As I say, yeah, he usually has, with all of the people he knows and whatnot, he usually can find us something that we're after. But I think I probably waited too late to share my interest in it, which is also what happened with the High Road Active and the High Road Rush.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But they're always coming out with more stuff. So if I don't get this one, then I'm sure there'll be another one.
Yeah, Wong has everything.
Now he's not always willing to sell everything, though.
Well, that's more the Mirables. Sometimes they don't quite know what they want to hold on to. Sometimes, especially the higher demand stuff. You know, Wong has everything, but you're gonna pay him. He knows what's out there. He knows who has what. He knows what's rare. He knows what he can charge for. And so, if you want something, you're gonna pay. You're gonna pay for it. So, and that's not a knock on him at all. That's just smart business.
No.
But he gets stuff out in a hurry and he takes care of everybody. Huh? You're okay walking through there. Yeah, I don't care. Yeah. All right. I think everybody's talked us into it. If we want to go see the lair down the basement, it's fairly organized. So, bonus content before we turn it off. We're going to show everybody the stash. Heater off now.
Yep.
Bring these back down.
Got it. Okay.
Nice, fancy, professional-looking sign there.
All right. So we're going to unveil here in just a moment.
Yeah.
My hand is over the camera. I'm not. We didn't go dark. Well, sort of, I guess. So, set it back up here. There we go.
All right. So we have way too many bowling balls. Obviously, it's become somewhat of a hobby here, and I think it's hard to get into bowling balls without
We do not have a crossroad.
without getting too far into bowling balls. I do of course have some special gems like my zero gravity here. That's probably going to go to the grips. Probably need to change the grips. Probably didn't mess with the grips, but I think this is going to make the trip. We're bowling on Broadway V2 here in a couple weeks, and that's almost 27 mils and 37 feet. So the zero is definitely very smooth. Here's an oldie but a goodie.
Yeah, actually up there at the top there.
Yeah, that's my promotion.
That's
stash.
his promotion. And see if I can get it. Over there, there's promotion tours.
Yeah. So this is an oldie. This is one of the ugliest balls that anyone has ever made, but I loved it. Thanks,
Didn't Chad say he had a hand in that?
Thanks, Rook.
Was that a Chad, or is that before his time?
Chad was like 10 when this came out, so.
I thought you had a conversation with him about that. Okay,
No,
never mind.
Not the traumas. Chad didn't even get there until 2013.
For some reason, I thought there was a conversation about that one.
This was made in.
Okay, never mind then.
02,
Disregard.
it looks like. So, anyhow, we have started our 900 Global collection that we have down there. I'm in the process of redoing my set, so we're not going to show off any of that. But I've got a pink badger. She found a white hot badger. We got a couple bolts. We got a couple fluxes. We did get one of the new Ordnance C4s, and Zens are coming. She found a space-time continuum that's pretty slick. That looks a lot like a Halo Pearl. We do have some ProMotion tours here that are R2X solid. Those look pretty sweet. This one is a Trend SE, so it's got.
We do not have a code black.
It's got the piston core in it, but it's got the Axiom Pearl cover. So
that was my Christmas present.
Trend SE. Move the camera a little bit closer.
Well, I was trying to get you walking around, so.
Yeah. So Trend SE smells like blueberry.
What would it take to get a ProMotion tour off my hands?
Yeah.
You don't want to know that price.
Yeah.
I would charge more than what somebody'd be willing to pay because I want it.
And this has been a several-year process, and everybody's saying, well, this would be really nice to have, but this is also a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of sacrifice and just a whole lot of everything to be able to end up with a basement full of bowling balls.
We never got a critical code. I have the, there's another, I have one of the codes.
But, this is R2X solid. So I think actually, yeah, this is the High Road X cover on the piston core. And that's the other thing here too, is that I don't hoard a bunch of stateside stuff. We have a couple of the discontinued ones, like I've got a couple idols down there. We found a couple IQ Emeralds. We got a couple All Roads. But other than that, I don't.
Yeah, the
stuff from the.
No, Luke was gifted a few of his overseas. The first 3 overseas balls he got, he was actually gifted them from Tawny. And then when the pandemic started, is when we actually really started buying overseas balls. Tawny posted on the SRG BBFS group that he was selling them to help out his employees. And so we actually bought probably 5 of his balls off of him at that time, which is where the first ProMotion tour came from. I've got an IQ Tour Rising in here, which is the Overseas Fusion. I've got a Sword Nano X, which is my Christmas ball. I've got a Spin.
No, I showed you the other phase. This is a
yes, Code Extreme. Thank you. Good grief.
This is an R2S phase.
Old High Roads. No, we do not have any old High Roads.
No, I got a new one here, but
yes, the OG Belmo spare ball's in my room. I'll go grab that real quick.
IQ Tour Rising was an overseas Tour Fusion. This one smells like pina colada. It's kind of boring, but name is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that smells great. And most of what we do, we like the overseas balls because we throw all the stateside stuff. So yeah.
So that's the OG one. The OGs actually say Belmonte on them and not Belmo.
Yeah, not Belmo.
So the remakes say Belmo. That's all sparkly. I'm not sure how well you can see it in there, but this one is never going to get holes. I'm going to save it and hopefully one day get to see him again. I got to watch him bowl once in Wichita. So if he ever makes it back to Wichita or close again, I'm going to take this and have him sign it. It's going to go in a box.
This one is quite rare. This is the Phase Tour. This has GI-18 Pearl on it. But this one looks really slick. I just haven't brought myself to put holes in a $450 ball yet. So.
If somebody else said that's a $700 ball.
Yeah, now that's what I'm going to say, yeah. These have gotten very rare and incredibly hard to find. I bought one of these from somebody, and then
we do not have the brain spare ball. Never had one of those.
We bought Tawny's from him during his purge, but then since he sold so much of his stash that we ended up just sending it back to him for free. So
he made a post on it, so it's nothing that we're not.
Got a pink phase over here. I've also got a Phase 3 SE that's got NRG solid on it. It looks just like a Phase 3. It's just got NRG solid. And then I've got another fairly rare one, Phase G. It's got AX16 hybrid on it, so it's got the hybrid cover of the original hybrid version of the original Phase cover. So this one's kind of cool. I have a feeling I'll drill this one of these days, but we drill so many other bowling balls that it's kind of hard to put holes in stuff, especially when most of our collection is overseas kind of rare stuff. We buy this stuff with the intention of drilling it, but we go through so many bowling balls already that...
And we have a stash Daredevil trick.
Plenty of great stuff to work with already.
The Eagle is one that I'm looking forward to drilling, though, the 900 stuff.
Oh yeah, she got an Eagle. And then we have some of the other stuff that's just hanging out. I got my fast pitch and my pitch black. Those don't come out very often, but they...
we did not...
Plug my Eternal Domination and fix that.
We do not have a bite.
No, we do not have a bite. We do have an MVP Pearl stash down here. We also have an Outcry, which looks exactly like a All Road pretty much. Like I said, we don't order a bunch of stateside stuff and hoard it. We get more into the rare overseas stuff, kind of playing Mr. Potato Head with stuff. I think I'll grab...
Have you ever drilled an ASIM with pin under and mass bias at 0?
No.
Yes, all these balls are new in box.
Yep. All new. This is one that most people didn't know about. Torrent Rush. R2S Pearl that was on that Torrent core, and I think the only place that showed up was... I think that there was just the Torrent, and then this one came out overseas, and I don't remember them ever using that core again. I don't think that there was another Torrent. I got all excited about this one because I really liked the Torrent, and then found out it was overseas.
Yep. Thoughts on the proton physics?
It hooks too much.
Yeah.
It rolls great. That's probably the most successful NEX solid ball that either of us... Well, she actually gets a lot of use out of her Axiom, but she likes the Hybrid Max, so... The proton physics is hanging out, it just hooks too much. I just can't throw it because it's too much ball. It might work out okay on that heavier short pattern. It might.
No, we do not have any of the locks at all, overseas or stateside.
This is my Code 0. This is an overseas Code Black. This is my high series ball. But that is your Marvel Max Force. This is a pretty cool looking ball.
Yeah, that one I wish you'd throw more just because it looks cool.
Yeah. So That's NRG Pearl.
Yes, he does have an IQ pink.
Oh yeah, the lighting's better down here, so I need more of these. I desperately need more of these.
I thought there was a lock that was overseas.
There's several locks that are overseas.
Okay.
Power lock, dual lock. They've had more overseas locks.
Okay.
This thing is just the coolest ball that I have ever seen. I mean,
Luke's high series right now is 825.
and this is actually it's basically an IQ Fusion because it's R2S hybrid. But you can see that it's pink, but it's got all this purple / blue mica in it, and then the decision to go blue on these labels just really makes everything pop. I mean, this is just...
Did you ever have a Victory Road?
No. This is just one of the coolest looking balls I've ever seen, period, and I have to have more. Because I actually throw a lot of the IQ line stuff.
Yeah, both him and I really love the IQ line, and we fight over if we only have one. So we need
number
two.
one on the drill list whenever I decide to start putting holes.
Well, he's going to have a pink bag. So he's got the IQ pink. He's got the pink Badger and the pink face.
Everybody's seen this one, but I'll get it out.
The Intense Fire was a really cool ball, but there has been more cool balls since then.
Yeah, I definitely like the look of that. I have to have more of those pink IQs. Because I know that I'm going to drill it and I'm going to love it, and then I'm going to be sad when it is done, so I have to have at least a couple more of those.
Good God.
And of course, there's always going to be something else that comes out or comes around to be able to... Phase 3 SE. Smells terrible, but it looks really cool.
Oh, geez. Ever have an undrilled ball crack while in storage?
Yeah, it happens. Not very often. It's a very rare thing, and most of the time that's a manufacturing defect. Most of the time when something cracks, it's your fault in one way or another.
Yeah.
But something like that, if it cracks before you even drill it, there was probably something wrong there
Yep.
in the manufacturing. So.
Yep. And I'll move this over here because there's a few up here.
Yeah, there's a few oldies and goodies. There's a hot wire back there, a supercharge. The El Nino 2000 was my first 300 ball. That Brunswick Red Zone in the back there was my first 800 ball.
I think that's the only Brunswick ball we kept.
Yeah. Yeah, because I actually had a couple of, or I had an 800 and a couple of 300 with the Reds, or a couple of 800s.
And this down here, that's a an award or something that was done a while back.
Grab this Sword Nano out. The Sword line overseas is basically IQs, or are basically IQs. This is an IQ Tornado Pearl. Is exactly what this is, or an IQ Tornado. I said pearl. Smells like sweet tarts, pixie sticks. But yeah, this is an IQ Tornado. That's exactly what this is.
Curtis said that they need to put your face on the promotion box.
Yeah. Yeah.
He, when
more,
in his
we
review,
probably have more Belmo balls than Belmo does.
yeah, probably. In his review of the promotion,
I told everybody.
he was like, it's the best ball ever, and Belmo actually sent him a Facebook message. We were on our way to nationals, and Luke's sitting there showing me, and I about just squealed and ran. I was just thrilled all to pieces. But yeah, Belmo actually sent him a message and thanked him for the video and thought it was a great job.
And again, that's one of those things that everybody says, oh, every once in a while people say, "Oh, you're just a staffer. You got to hype everything up. You got to hype everything up." Here's the proof. Here's the proof. There's 2 of them. There's 2 more. There's another one here on this side.
And one more
We have
coming.
One more coming. This is after giving one away. I have 1 in the bag. I have 1 plugged. We have 3 ProMotion tours. We have trends. We have a Trend SE.
I have 2 of the remake Belmo spare balls.
So this is the last one I'm going to open up, but this one's kind of cool because in other countries, or I guess they might even have them here, but they have what they call performance rentals. If you pay a couple extra bucks, you can get it's just like renting a pair of shoes, you can rent a reactive ball. This one smells like the Crux Pearl. So it's root beer, it's that Barks root beer scent, but it says performance rental on it. These are actually quite cheap to get a hold of, believe it or not. It's called the Spin, and it's an Optimus. It's an original Optimus Pearl. So if we look on the box here, it's got the Tri-Sphere core and AX17 Pearl, if you can see that. 248 RG 048 differential. But yes, it's an Optimus.
You can probably get spins for less than $150. Because nobody really knows exactly what they are, and they don't like that it says performance rental on the ball.
Yeah. So anyhow, it's nap time.
Yes.
Bridget, yeah, we were just gonna pop on for 30 minutes and show everybody the new Pro Shop lights up there
Yep.
and plug some stuff. Oh yeah, something else she got with her. Oh, where'd that go?
It's in my book bag. I can go get it.
Okay. Yeah, she got a chamois with the White Hot Badger, and it's got the Badger Claw logo on it. But anyway, there's been years and years and years and all kinds of time and effort, and seeing all this stuff sitting here looks cool and it feels cool to have it, but spending that much time and that much effort and that much money and whatever to have a basement full of bowling balls, I don't think is a life goal for anybody. But it's cool that we have it. So this is the chamois she got with her White Hot Badger. It's got the Badger Claw logo on there. That's pretty cool. But anyhow, so it's nap time. I appreciate everybody hanging out. I put up a UC2 rated video earlier, and I've got High Road Max and Insight videos coming soon with the rated ones. And then of course the newly announced Parallax Effect. I can put those videos up next Friday. So we're going to be going out and shooting for those pretty soon. But thanks everybody for hanging out, and thanks for all the support. Thanks for watching the videos. Thanks for showing up and commenting and talking. And this is a lot of fun to do. It's a whole lot easier than prepping and editing a video. So
Yep.
I like doing this more anyway. And plus, you don't have to post a comment and wait for like 3 days for me to eventually answer it. So
Yeah, if you guys go back, the ones that aren't live, and if anybody made it through all of this 109 minutes and 23 seconds right now, leave a comment below anything that you
also
like. Oh, he's getting more balls
As
out.
long as we're talking about it, the Ordnance C4 from Global.
It looks
It
fantastic.
looks so sharp. There's yellow mica in this teal.
I want one
It
now.
looks just crazy.
I won this in a drawing, and I let him pick the ball. I had a choice of like 3 different balls. I let him pick the ball, and he's like, "Yeah, I want one of those." So it shows up, and I look at it and like, "Okay, now I want one."
Yeah. The real story on these, though, is for anybody that liked the Daredevil line. So if you're missing Daredevil, Trick, and for the sadists that are missing the Danger for some crazy reason, anybody missing a Daredevil line ball, these numbers are basically Daredevil numbers. Because the Daredevils in 15 pounds were 248.040. This is 248.042. And the cover stock strength is right in about that same line. So if you really like Daredevil stuff and you're missing the Daredevils, the Ordnance C4 would be one to check out there. So
Yeah, We're probably going to get a couple Zens. It's just not there yet.
Yeah, we just obviously not going out of our way to get, especially anything stateside, and since it's easy for us to get and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. We
If
tend
yeah,
to hop on the overseas stuff a little bit more just because they're fun. So
yep.
anyhow, it's nap time. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed it. We enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.